Welcome back to South Coast Sessions. So the plan today is to try some parawinging again, but this time in much lower winds. I think the forecast or the real time at the lighthouse is between 7 and 10 meters per second, and that's really on the lower end of what I've been trying so far. I've got a downwind 1400 foil, which is a bit bigger than what I've been using so far. It's harder to control than the SF 1080, but it's definitely got a lot more glide. Okay, lots to learn from that session. 4 meter parawing is definitely harder to manage than a 3 meter. Last time I went out, it was with a 3 meter. And with the 4 meter, everything's just a bit slower and takes more time to complete the maneuvers. So the jibing felt slower. And I think with the wind speed, you know, if you're going the same speed as the wind speed, basically the wing collapses in the jibe, and I really had difficulty with that. So my jibe success rate was maybe 50%, I reckon. And yeah, once in the jibe, once you have the parawing, you know, behind you, that's pretty hard to get it back up front again. And then also if it twists, then it's pretty impossible to untwist it. I didn't have much success stowing today. I felt it was a lot harder than the 3 meter. And when I did, all the lines got tangled up. So in the end, I started, you know, I dropped the parawing a few times and just tried to pump on the downwind foil, which worked fine. What I noticed when I came back to the parawing was that it was almost submerged. The carbon bar, it floats, but yeah, the parawing was submerging itself and probably would sink if it hadn't, or at least lie under the water if it didn't have the carbon bar. The next pleasant surprise was the ability to get on foil in these low winds, and with this downwind 1400 foil, I really felt a bit of swell actually. Really helped to get up on foil, so that was nice. The other thing was I found actually that getting up on foil with one hand on the parawing instead of two was actually easier, especially going against the bumps. Having the second hand free to be able to balance on the board really helped a lot. Maybe I'm imagining it, but I felt like the parawing was taking on water. Of course, it's just a single skin, but by the end of the session, it felt like it had a lot more kind of water on it than at the beginning of the session. So it was having more trouble flying up in the wind. At least that's what I felt. Last observation is about the foil. I really felt the downwind 1400 foil had more early lift than the SF 1080. A lot more glide. About the same speed it felt like, but it was definitely harder to turn, and that's why, you know, possibly my jibes were not as successful today, because it was just so much harder to turn on that downwind 1400. So we'll just have to keep working with it.